Welcome to rSlash Entitled Parents, where an entitled mother lets her kid's finger get chopped off. Our next Reddit post is from Raichu Rose. My sister got married yesterday. Yay! However, the groom's aunt, Karen, was not a very pleasant guest. A little over a week ago, my sister got a text from Karen asking if her little girl, who's 8, could be the flower girl. The bride and groom have been engaged for over a year, and when they first got engaged, they asked the groom's niece to be the flower girl. Karen and her child live super far away from the groom's family, so they've only met the couple like twice. The groom's niece, however, is very close to my sister and her uncle. My sister was a little peeved that some woman she barely knows asked her to change her flower girl a week before her wedding. So obviously she said no, it's too late. A few days later, the bride gets another text from Karen saying that she bought a flower girl dress for her daughter and she's just so excited. The attached picture shows Karen's daughter wearing a white dress. Not a dress with white on it. No. This was a completely white dress with lace at the top and a white bow around the waist. It was trashy, but it wasn't the little girl's fault. The bride went from peeved to fairly irritated at this point. Then comes the wedding day. We already knew that Karen's daughter would be coming in white. Her mom's rude, whatever, let's just ignore them. But oh boy, we were not expecting Karen to be wearing a white lace dress. A grown woman in her 50s, not only demanding that her kid be in the wedding a week before the big day and buying her a white dress, but also wearing a white lace dress herself? I offered to accidentally spill red wine on the Karen, but my sister said that she was content with watching everyone else at the reception ignore her and talk trash about her. Our next Reddit post is from Clockers. My stepdad was constantly buying Amazon products, and one time he got a small camera for free, which he promptly set up in the living room, and he told my mom about it, but not me. Weird, right? Well, my mom thought that it was weird too, so she told me straight away. She said that, according to my stepdad, he wanted to catch me with boys in the house when they weren't there. Which, first off, doesn't make any sense because he never left the house because he was too fat. Secondly, he said that it was for home security, however, it wasn't aimed at any doors or windows, nor was it aimed at any area of the house that people could actually break into. It was solely pointing at the area of the sofa where I would always sit. We later found out by reading his text messages that he was sexually attracted to me, which was disgusting. That's when he realized that the real reason why he put the cameras up wasn't to catch me with boys. It was to catch me naked or topless if they ever went away and to spy on my phone messages. He had full control over the camera and my mom couldn't see what he was recording. But we found out from the text messages that that's what he was using it for. Thankfully, since my mom told me about the camera, I was never caught in a compromising position. Luckily, my story has a happy ending. My stepdad died in April from COVID, and we haven't had a camera set up since then. So it feels great to have my privacy back. OP, that is mega creepy. And as awful as your dad is, I want to know, after your mom found out, why was she still with him? Our next Reddit post is from Captain Party Cat. My husband and I just had a baby. It was my birthday this weekend, and we were both exhausted, so we're keeping things pretty basic. Still, my husband insisted that I at least have a birthday balloon. Usually we decorate a little for each other's birthday, but this year we're forgoing that. So we go to a local card shop, and I choose a helium balloon in the shape of a llama. We tie the balloon to the baby pram and go outside, where we encounter a couple with their kid, who's maybe 4 to 5 years old. The child is holding a plain pink balloon. The kid sees my balloon and wants it, and she tries to grab it, but she can't reach the pram's handle. The mother then insists that we switch balloons because her kid clearly wants mine, but my baby is too young to even know what a balloon is. I said, "It's my birthday balloon," and the mother said, "Even better, you won't mind giving it to my child," as she grabs the string and moves to untie it. My husband, who's had enough, pushes the mother away and says, deadpan, "That's my llama balloon, bitch." The end. Down in the comments, I'm going to read this post from Tuna Tofu. Touch my llama, lose an arma. Our next Reddit post is from Tatterhood. My sister is married to a man whose mother is a stay-at-home mom. Even though my sister's husband is a full-grown man, his mom still tries to overparent him. She is also very opinionated about what everyone else should be doing. To keep the peace, most of my family just lets her get away with it. I do not. This greatly upsets her. So back when our kids were in elementary school, we all lived in the same neighborhood. I'd go to my sister's for a visit, and afterwards we'd both walk to the school to pick them up at the end of the day. My sister's mother-in-law insisted on coming too. My sister didn't think that it was a hill worth dying on, so I just kept my mouth shut. One day, her overly critical highness decided that she didn't like my kid's coat, and that we needed to fix it. What she meant by that is that I would have to spend my money to buy another coat that met her approval. I loved that coat on my kid, and I also didn't care at all about her preferences. So I told her there was just no need to talk about it. She kept harping on it constantly for almost a week, because apparently me saying things like, I don't care if you like it or not, or I'm not your kid, and even if I were, I'd still tell you to back off, were too vague for her to figure out that I was not going to be pushed around. I tried ignoring her, tried changing the subject, but she was just completely fixated. So finally, I turned around and told her flat out that I didn't give two shits what she liked, and that it was none of her business. We're not even related. She got pissed off and started poking me in the chest over and over while she said, I don't care if you're related to me or not. You are my son's girlfriend's sister, and you will do what I tell you to. I warned her not to touch me again, and after that, she started screaming and sobbing. And she would tell anyone who would listen that she was being harassed and threatened just because she was trying to be helpful. I just laughed and walked away. An hour later, I had over 20 calls and texts from people telling me to apologize to her to just keep the peace. Also, these people strongly suggested that maybe I should go buy another coat for my kids so I wouldn't upset her anymore. My sister's been with her husband for 25 years, so I have tons of stories about this woman. Like one about the time that my nephew and nieces couldn't come to my daughter's birthday party because I refused to invite her and my sister's boyfriend's What? Because I refused to invite her and my sister's boyfriend's mother's nephew's son. OP, like at that point, that's not even a family member. That's a complete and total stranger. All right, let me think about this. Your sister's boyfriend's mother's nephew's son. So you got a sister. The sister's married to a guy. He has a mom. The mom has a sibling, a brother or a sister. That person has a kid, and then that person has a kid. Yeah, okay. That's a complete and total stranger at that point. OP continues. Or the time that my baby shower was canceled because I preferred to have my own friends as guests, instead of my sister's boyfriend's mother's mother plus sister-in-law. Wait, what? Instead of my sister's boyfriend's mother's mother plus mother-in-law and sister-in-laws, almost all of whom I'd never met. Or the time that there was a Royal Rumble elimination style verbal cage match of 1 against 12 because I decided to use my tax refund for dental care instead of a TV. Or the family blow up because I refused to give her half the bottles of shampoo that I'd bought for half price. OP, please tell more stories about this woman. Me and my brother's girlfriend's nephews, next door neighbors, aunts, pizza delivery driver would love to hear them. Our next Reddit post is from Maidboxer. I worked for a research facility that funds clinics handling patients within our area of expertise. To celebrate our first completely funded sites, we decided to create t-shirts to commemorate our success. I was tasked with designing the t-shirts and having them printed and produced for our next conference. I secured a local printer to produce the shirts, and when they were completed, I went to the printers to pick them up. When I got there, the workers said they had to prepare and wrap the t-shirts, which would take a few minutes, so I could wait in the lobby. While I was waiting, a young woman and her 5-year-old son came in to pick up their order for t-shirts for a family reunion. The mother barely paid attention to the staff. When they told her to wait, she got on her phone and pretty much ignored her son, who was running all over the lobby, screaming at the top of his lungs. The kid then decided to run behind the counter towards the back where the printing machines were. The clerk at the counter tried to get the woman's attention, but she just ignored the worker and kept talking on her phone. The clerk did successfully get the kid to go back to the lobby, but the clerk was called to the back to pick up my package. The kid saw this as his chance and shot behind the counter and went running to the back. I thought that one of the staff members would catch him, but I guess they were just swamped with orders because apparently they didn't see the kid run past. By the time one of the workers spotted him, it was too late. There was a loud high-pitched scream and then crying. And there was loud commotion and everyone started screaming. Everyone except for the entitled parent who was still talking on her phone, oblivious to all the chaos. That's when another staff member came out carrying the kid and holding a bloody towel around the kid's hand, screaming at the receptionist to call 911. It was only then that the entitled parent turned around to see her son and screamed at the staff member, "What did you do to my son?" The staff member said that somehow the kid got into the back, ran up to one of the machines, and stuck his hand in between the hot blades and sliced off one of his fingers. The entitled parent started screaming at the staff members, berating them and threatening to sue them, while still ignoring her son, who was still in the staff member's arms trying to stop the bleeding. That's when I, a nurse, came up to assess the situation and got something to slow down the bleeding and try to save the mostly severed finger. As the ambulance pulled up, the entitled parent was actually still talking on the phone, telling whomever she was talking to what had happened to her son. And she still hadn't checked on or even touched her son. The staff member gave the boy to the EMTs and they put him in the ambulance and took him to the hospital. This butthole of an entitled parent actually waited and demanded her package before she even attempted to follow the ambulance to the hospital. A month later, when I went back to the printer for another order of t-shirts, I had to ask if they had ever heard about what happened to the little boy. He did lose his finger, and the entitled mother was charged with neglect due to testimony from the shop staff. I didn't find out much more than that, but I do hope that the entitled parent didn't regain custody of that poor kid. Oh man, this reminds me of a story that my dad told me. Okay, I feel like I should put a disclaimer on this next story. I have a personal story to tell, and this story involves a kid having an even worse accident than the kid who got his finger cut off. So, when he was a kid, there was this one other kid on the school bus that he rode on, and this kid would always stick his hand and part of his body out the window of the school bus. The school bus driver constantly told the kid not to do that, but the kid would just keep doing it. And then one day, the school bus drove too close to a telephone pole, and the telephone pole hit the kid's arm. My dad said that the kid's arm looked like a bloody, limp noodle. Our next Reddit post is from German Big Guy. So this story is about my neighbor. My girlfriend and I live in a building with a bunch of apartments. Our apartment isn't that big, but it has a huge balcony. And due to the current heat wave, we practically live on our balcony. Our next door neighbor's balcony is directly next to ours. There's only a 50-centimeter gap between them. A family lives next door, and the husband seems fine. He works a lot, he greets me in the hallway, and he doesn't call the cops or the landlord when people are loud. He talks to them first. He's a good man. His wife, however, is the total opposite. She's a complete stay-at-home momby. Her kids are okay, I guess. She has a daughter in elementary school and a boy in 7th or 8th grade. So yeah, I never really had problems with this family until this week. My girlfriend adores our balcony because we didn't have a balcony at our old place. She grows flowers, tomatoes, and strawberries on our balcony, and she enjoys sunbathing. And since it's really hot and sunny right now, she sunbathes a lot. I should also point out that she sunbathes in a bikini. Also, she undoes her bikini top when she lays on her stomach, never on her back, because our other neighbor is kind of an old creep. So a few days ago I came back from work and I met my momby neighbor in the hallway. It started with the usual small talk, but then the tone shifted. She told me to get my girlfriend in line because she was exposing herself and her son is distracted. I just shrugged it off and walked past her. After nearly 10 hours of dealing with stupid people at work, I wasn't in the mood for her garbage. I then told my girlfriend, and she just laughed about it. She told me that she noticed a neighbor boy watching her when she was on the balcony, but she didn't think too much of it. Well, I took my neighbor's advice. My brother is a carpenter, so I asked if he could build a screen for me. Basically, it was just a big plate that would prevent my neighbors from looking at my balcony. He said sure and installed a screen for me. Well, today I was talking to my neighbor on the other side, the creep, and he said that he talked to the momby, and she seemed pissed that I put the screen up because it's not very neighbor-friendly and that it's rude. Well, come on, lady, pick one. If you can't control your kid, then I'll gladly take that burden off of you. I talked to the husband and he's okay with it. He told me that his wife is too nosy anyway, and that she's probably just jealous of my girlfriend, and that he's talking to his son about respecting women. So, yeah, my story doesn't have some big explosion. It's just a momby Karen who thinks that my girlfriend has to dress like a nun because her 13-year-old son hit puberty. And then OP posted an update. Okay, so I kinda have a minor update, which isn't worth its own post. The momby actually apologized to me and my girlfriend. Yeah, it was a half-hearted apology, and yeah, her husband made her do it. But still, I take that as a huge win. So I'm now enjoying the privacy of my own balcony. And to all the people who suggested that we passionately hug each other on the balcony to piss off my neighbor, we're thinking about it. Yeah, OP, I'm imagining your creepy neighbor next door down in the comments being like, oh, you know what you guys should do? You should have naked, passionate hugging just all day on your balcony. Yeah, and your girlfriend should invite some of her friends over too, and just have this big, wild orgy of hugging on the balcony. I'm sure that would really teach your neighbor a lesson. That was rSlash Parents, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.